Dual sport style, baby. Yeah. Let her eat. Come on. Just makes it so easy. Woo-hoo-hoo. And now I'm on the crest of this big hill here in Austin, Texas. Oh man. Yeah, the WR rules. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Yammie Noob. Today, we're doing a good one. We're doing one that I wanted to do for a long time, even though it appears that nobody really cares about dual sports on this channel. Today is the first ride and impression of our new WR250R. This is Yamaha's dual sport designed to compete with the DRZ 400, the CRF 300L, all those types of motorcycles. They're actually discontinuing this model, which I think is a damn shame. We're going to talk about that. And in case you don't know, this is a motorcycle we're featuring as part of our beginner bike giveaway sweepstakes. Now, we are not actually giving away this WR. This WR is actually my bike. I bought this because I really wanted one of these and I love them. But what we were doing instead is we were giving away a Triumph Trident 660 and a $6,000 cash prize in place of this WR. So we're going to be featuring this motorcycle and talking about it from a beginner rider perspective, why it's awesome, why I love it, why it's such a great motorcycle. But for the giveaway portion, the sweepstakes portion of our content, we're going to be doing a $6,000 cash prize. So hit the link down below to yammie.co, find out how you can get entered to win the Trident 660 or the $6,000 cash prize so that you can go get whatever motorcycle you want. So for today's video, I thought we'd do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about the specs about this bike. We're going to get into it, but I think if I ride the bike and show you guys what makes it so unique, what makes this thing so special, because I adore this bike. The WR is seriously such a cool bike, and I'm going to show you guys why it's so awesome. So let's head out here and I'll do my best to demonstrate why I think this bike is so cool. And we're gonna do that by taking a little detour. Dual sport style, baby. So come up here, cross this. Yeah, let her eat, come on. Just makes it so easy. Woo-hoo-hoo! And now I'm on the crest of this big hill here in Austin, Texas. And not to say that that was the gnarliest little hill climb, but if you didn't have a dual sport, you'd never be able to check out this fire pit and hammock situation they have here, and this stuffed animal, and a precariously dangling power line right there. Or maybe that's telephones. I don't know. That's what makes these things so awesome, man. So I was just there, and now I'm here. This is why dual sports absolutely rule, in my opinion. You can go anywhere, you can do anything, and it is just so fun to ride. These things are lightweight, nimble, agile, and they're a very known quantity. So what do you guys say we get on out of here and we start talking about the specs and some other stuff about this bike? Let's get after it, shall we? Whew. Show you guys here how you descend on a dual sport, on a rocky, gravelly descent like we normally have here in Texas. All right, nice and easy, very slow. Pick a good line. This bike is so easy to ride, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous how simple the WR is to ride. Make sure to not press your brakes too aggressively because you can lock them up and you're back. And then for good measure, oh man, yeah, the WR rules. These bikes are so fun, man. It's like a big bicycle or something. Yeah. All right, so what are we working here? Actually, you know what? Before we do the specs, everyone always wants to know, can dual sports go on the highway? And this one can, because it has 6 speeds, a pretty good amount of horsepower. The speedometer is slightly off, so we're probably doing about 70 right now. I think it's about 10% off or so. So we're probably doing like 68 or 70 miles per hour. And the WR is happy to do this, man. Happy to cruise along the highway and have some fun. All right, let's discuss some of the specifications of this bike. I feel like we've had enough fun with it. We have to get on with our actual ride and review of it, shall we? So, this is Yamaha's dual sport motorcycle. Dual sport meaning you can go on and off road. Now, that's very different from an adventure bike because this thing weighs in at about 295 pounds ready to ride. Yes, you heard that correctly. If you are familiar with street motorcycles, you think that 400 pounds is lightweight. This WR250 is one of the most lightweight street legal motorcycles you can go out and buy, short of a KTM EXCF or something like that. These things are awesome for that reason. So because of that lightweight, it makes it so that when you do take this thing off-road, it is so much more easy to ride than your big Tenere 700s or your BMW GSs or stuff like that. This is genuinely a dirt bike with headlights. It's pretty capable, and that's the WR's secret sauce as opposed to the other dual sport bikes in the category, is that the specification here is pretty dang high. This is genuinely known as one of the most capable dual sport motorcycles because it has huge ground clearance, huge suspension travel, big front forks, full adjustability, compression rebound, and preload front and rear. So it's a pretty high level of specification, and everybody knows everything about the WR, so that makes it a fantastic platform. Now, the one Achilles heels of this motorcycle is the fact that it has a 249cc liquid-cooled single making about 30 horsepower and like, I think 17 foot-pounds of torque. So it's not the torquiest motorcycle in the world. If you ride a DRZ 400, it'll feel much torquier and snappier than a WR. But the WR is so much more lightweight and so much more modern compared to a DRZ that it makes it just a way better motorcycle, in my opinion. I would take this over a DRZ 400 any day because the big thing this bike has is that it's fuel injected. Yes, this is not a carbureted motorcycle. Thank God Yamaha thought it through. They told you guys to not use carburetors just like we do as well. So this is a fuel injected motorcycle, which is pretty awesome. The thing that's super cool about the WR is that because of that lightweight, the seating arrangement, all that, man, this feels just like an overgrown bicycle. It's fantastic. It's like when you're a little kid and you first picked up your bicycle and you're riding around the neighborhood and stuff. You get such a sense of the motorcycle when you're on it. It's so analog. It's so raw and simple and pure. And you guys know that I love bikes like that. It's got a simple cable actuated throttle, no ABS, no frills. See me, you can see this dash right here. It's literally just a TI-83. It tells you your speed, which is usually wrong. Your odometer, it's got the time here, and then that's it. That's literally it. Valve services every 22,000 miles for this bike, so this is a motorcycle that you can pick up and just beat and ride and have fun with, and it will just keep going. As you guys can see, I've already put about 100 miles on this motorcycle, and I've already looped it, I've already low-sided it in low grass, and I'm just letting it know what kind of life it's gonna live because it is just such a fun motorcycle. This is a bike that I feel like people who are brand new riders can appreciate it, people who are returning riders can appreciate it, people who are expert level riders can appreciate it, people who are trying to up their motorcycle control can appreciate it. I just feel like there's basically no one that a WR couldn't help, you know? Like, this is a motorcycle that no matter your skill set, no matter your experience with motorcycles, you can appreciate and enjoy. Now, I would like to say one thing, because I think a lot of folks don't know my background with off-roading and dirt bikes and stuff. So I've got a Ducati Scrambler Desert sled that I've had for almost 2 years now. I've done all kinds of trail riding and adventure riding with that thing. I've got a KTM 250 SXF that I use for motocross, and I've taken it out on trails, which was not the wisest idea. So I've got a fairly healthy amount of experience with off-road, so I don't want you guys to think that I'm approaching this thank you, sir. I don't want you guys to think that I'm coming at the WR and I don't know anything about off-road riding, because I definitely do. I'm not an expert. It's not my forte. My forte is definitely track riding and sport bikes, but I love these things, man. I adore riding dual sports, and I like trail riding, and I just love the feeling that you get from motorcycles like this. So that's a bit of my background. So keeping that in mind, I did mention that this was a dirt bike with headlights, right? Now, if you look at something like my KTM 250 that I've got, that's a bike that weighs 230 pounds and makes 40-something horsepower, 42 horsepower. So it weighs 60 pounds less than this bike, and it makes 12 more horsepower. Go over here. You can seriously just treat these like bumps, just like little gentle. The WR does not even care one iota about speed bumps. I love that about this bike. You can seriously take whatever speed bumps you want. I'm going like 40 miles per hour. It doesn't matter. That makes the bike really cool too, because it makes it a great urban vehicle as well. You can take this thing out to the city and just bop around the city as much as you want, and it's so easy to ride. But as I was saying, so don't get it twisted. This is a very capable off-road machine, super fun, lightweight bike compared to your adventure bikes and your street motorcycles. But when you stack it up against dedicated off-road bikes, it leaves a little bit to be desired. It's sort of like the difference between a VFR 800 and then a R6, right? One is absolutely dedicated to tearing up the racetrack, and the other makes a lot of concessions for street riding. Wide open on the WR. I feel like if you like Groms and you like the feeling that a Grom has, this is like a Grom but just times 20. It's awesome. You can actually get up the highway speed with it. You can go crush off-road trails with it. You can ride this thing literally anywhere, and it's not even like, why would you get a Grom over a WR? I mean, maybe if you're a little vertically challenged, let's say if you're a shorter person, it might be a little harder because this bike does have a pretty tall seat height, but I'm about 5'11", almost 6 foot-ish with my riding boots on, and I can very comfortably flat foot this thing. And even if you can't, because it's so lightweight, you can tip the WR over on its side and get 1 foot down, no problem. Now, speaking of foot down and speaking of carving it up, because this bike is so lightweight, it's so fun to chuck around corners. Not in the same way that sport bikes are. You're not going to be powering out of corners like crazy, but enjoying the very simple task of carving beautiful lines through some twisties. The WR is more than capable of doing that, and it's on some pretty garbage OEM tires right now, and I'm still really enjoying it. I think a lot of folks are concerned with dual sports when it comes to, like, grip angles and, when it comes to angles of lean and grip from the tire. But because they're so lightweight and they're so intuitive, it's really simple to get after it with the WR, because you can really feel what the front end is doing. You can feel if the motorcycle is about to give way or about to shimmy or shake loose. It's so intuitive to ride. Super, super easy to ride. And then you can just bop around, tackle some gravel and sand and stuff. Nothing's off limits, man. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You talk about freedom on a motorcycle, it's a dual sport. Absolutely, we talk about freedom on a motorcycle, we're talking about dual sports. I mean, what else is there? It's just so great. And if you're the type of person that, you know, you're kind of like addicted to speed, or you like torque and big power, this is a great way to get reacquainted with the quieter, simpler, easier going side of motorcycles. And it's still so fun to be on two wheels. And I think that's the thing that people miss sometimes when they start chasing really big horsepower on their R1s or the 210s, which, don't get me wrong, those bikes are awesome. And I had a lot of fun taking our 210 out to the track, but for bopping around the street, I think a WR may just be the perfect motorcycle. I adore riding this thing around the street because it doesn't really matter that I can't blast out of corners, or I can't dive bomb on the brakes on a corner, and I can't, you know, do 150 on the miles per highway, or that I can't do 150 miles per hour on the highway. None of that stuff really matters when I'm on a WR because it's just so dang fun to ride. It's just the pure joy of motorcycling. It's the pure joy of getting on the throttle, carving up some corners, chucking it off-road, doing whatever you want. These bikes are amazing for that, man. I mean, I seriously feel like a soul connection to the WR. And in case you guys didn't know, the WR was a motorcycle that I was actually considering buying. I was between my Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled and a WR250 about 2 years ago when I was looking at picking up a personal motorcycle. I didn't get a chance to test ride the WR. I actually test rode the Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled, and I loved it so much that I went and pulled the trigger because I figured that I needed a little bit more torque and power for the street. I wanted something that was kind of off-roady but also still like a naked bike. But man, I wish I had ridden this. I wish I had bought this instead. And now I have, and I get the feeling that my Scrambler's probably going to languish a little bit in my shop. I don't really see myself riding it as much anymore now that I have the WR. Because this bike is everything I wanted it to be. It's so fun to ride this thing, man. Just like a big bicycle. It's so fun. And as I was saying earlier, one of the big differences between a WR and an adventure bike is that when you do take them off-road, you know, the WR is going to be so much easier to handle. You're not going to have to worry about this kind of big, like, heavy 450, 500-pound motorcycle toppling over and then you can't pick it up, or you're having problems with it. The WR just makes everything feel comically easy. This thing seriously feels like such a dirt bike, you know? It's barely a street bike in my opinion, which is really awesome. Could it stand to be lighter? Could it stand to make more power? Sure, but I genuinely don't care. I think a lot of people who complain about the WR being underpowered are just kind of being annoying, honestly. It's a 250 single, and you're designed to take it on and off road, and the valve clearances are every 22,000 miles. What are you complaining about, man? You're complaining that it doesn't have the torque of a 450? Well, yeah, no duh. It doesn't have 450 torque because it's not a 450. It also doesn't have the maintenance intervals that a 450 does. 450 motocross bikes are so stupid for road use. That's not what those bikes are designed to do. This bike is so happy to just poodle down the road, have some fun, goof around. It's such a joy to ride. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about this motorcycle, man. I just adore it. I absolutely adore it. I love the fact, too, that the WR is such a well-known motorcycle. If you go on thumpertalk.com or any other forums, I mean, anything you want to do to a WR, someone has already done it. It seems very unlikely that if you have a WR and you're thinking of doing something, that someone hasn't already done that mod or tried the thing you want to try. I think you have to temper your expectations with this motorcycle, too. I think it's a bike that, you know, if you're thinking of doing super long distances, you're going to want to put a comfort seat on it. You're going to want to put a rally tank on it. You're going to want a big windscreen of some sort just to help you out. You could do heated grips as well, too. And I don't know, man. I also think, like, some of the adventure bike guys, they prioritize comfort so much that they lose out on what makes a motorcycle, you know? Like, this thing, on the trails and, like, off-road, will absolutely annihilate an adventure bike. a relatively inexperienced rider could take this WR places that they wouldn't even dare putting a tire on an adventure bike. They wouldn't even dare stepping foot in with a big GS or something like that. So I say personally, put up with the uncomfortability, that's not even a word, put up with the uncomfiness of the WR and just get used to it, because it's a motorcycle, man. They're not supposed to be like cars. They're not supposed to be comfortable. They're not supposed to be these little manicured experiences. You're supposed to feel the wind. You're supposed to be a little uncomfortable. You're supposed to feel like you're doing something, because you are doing something. Not to get on a diatribe there, but I just, adventure bike guys, I think you miss the point sometimes, man. You miss the point. I love how narrow this thing is. It sits super nice. I got this Pro Taper handlebar on it, so it's nice and wide too. Feels really good, man. I'm gonna do so many mods to this thing. I've already got plans of possible suspension upgrades and case protection, slide protectors, case savers in the bottom, skid plate, bark busters for sure. I've already got my brake lever just a little bent from that wet grass tip over that I told you guys about, because I often take this thing out to a little green area near my shop, and there's two little jumps that I always do over there, and there's a great spot to get the rear end of the bike out and do a big slide, and you can practice wheelies over there. It's super fun. Yeah, this bike's amazing. What sucks is, like I said, they're not making them anymore. Yamaha has discontinued production of the WR, which I think is just an absolute shame and a pity. They should have updated the looks of this motorcycle, and I think it could have kept selling for a long time. Maybe made it a 300 and then made it look like a Husqvarna Vitpillen or something like that, but made it more capable, you know? Because yeah, Sparpillen 401 is a fun bike, and yeah, you can like chuck it down like some trails and some fire roads and stuff, but this is the real deal, you know? This is a serious dual sport. There's basically nowhere that you can take this thing that you're not going to feel comfortable going down. You can do like serious single track with this thing, and it's not even an issue at all. So I think it really matters, you know? I think it matters to make sure that you have a proper dual sport setup as opposed to like what the Sparpillen 401 is, you know? But what a fantastic bike. I can't say enough good things about it. I really like the throttle feel. It's so simple and pure. Nice cable throttle, so linear, so simple. The front brake feel is perfectly adequate for this motorcycle. It's not going to be, you know, Brembo style Emma stopping power, but because it's so lightweight, you don't really even need that stuff either. You can fling the bike over from side to side, no problem. It's just a joy to ride. And as I mentioned, the throttle is super forgiving in first and second gear, so if you're learning how to ride single track and you're learning how to ride off-road, this thing's not going to scare you one bit. And it's set up so well to just go and learn. That's why I was saying the bike makes such a strong case for itself for any type of rider, because the WR is a bike that can teach you so much about motorcycle control and dynamics, you know? Like you take this thing out to a dirt lot somewhere and you start kind of wheeling it around and feeling what the bike does when you start whipping up traction at the rear or sliding it in, practice your J-turns, your wheelies, you know? Like this is a bike you can do so much with. And it's a super special machine, and I think everyone should ride one because it will fundamentally change how you feel about motorcycles. I think it's just such a blast to ride. Like it's just so cool looking at anything and just thinking, yeah, I could probably make it up that, or you know, I could ride here, I could ride there. It's so cool to be on a bike that does this kind of stuff, man. Like whatever you want to do, you could probably go on a WR. It's not even difficult, you know? Like this isn't even anything over here, but making sure I'm in first. I don't know if I can do compression wheelies with this. A little one. Yeah, you can. Just like a real dirt bike, you can do little technical compression wheelies. The ones where you squeeze the front forks and then you pop it. It's a good way to get over stuff on trails. Not that I'm any good at riding trails, mind you, but you know, one of those things. Oh, what a special bike, man. Yeah. Oh, This is pure motorcycling, man. This is what it's about. This is what it's about, dude. These bikes are incredible. I love the WR. So I think that's gonna wrap up my video. What do you guys think? Do you like the WR? There's like 2 people that are gonna watch this video, like the 3,000 views that it's gonna get, because people only care about sport bikes on Yammie Noob. They don't care about dual sports, which is a real bummer. But I'm gonna make you guys care. I'm gonna make you guys care. I'm gonna show you guys that these bikes are awesome and they deserve your attention, and they're really special. So yeah, hit the links down below. Check out the Triumph Trident we're giving away. Also check out the $6,000 cash prize for second place we're going to be giving away, and we're going to make lots more videos about the WR. This thing's going to compete against Spite's DRZ. We're going to go out to some trails, have some fun with it. Should be a good time. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Hey there, partner. You done made it to the end of this here Yammie Noob video, but I tell you what, there's another Yammie Noob video right over here waiting for you. Now, I know I'm real gracious like that, and I just do nice things for you. So why don't you take a look at this video, and you let me know what you think.